Please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll, please.
Trustee Pacoli?
Here.
Trustee Lyson?
Here.
Trustee Melander? Here. Trustee Mankowski? Here. Trustee Quagmore? Here. Trustee Nessick?
Here.
Treasurer Rodzik?
Here.
Attorney Avis?
Here.
President Dilbert?
Here. Approval of agenda. I have a couple of things that need to be added. One is resolution 19-010 pertaining to our sidewalk replacement. I would like to add that I'll leave it under myself.
So item F.
Yes. I think that's it.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda as amended.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported, and we approve the agenda as amended. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Public comment on the agenda. Seeing none. Approval of minutes, August 13th.
I have one amendment on it, the payment of bills. The amount that we approved at the table was $233,985.34.
Which item is that?
Payment of bills. I believe there was a change at the table.
Yes, there was. Yes, there was. Yep. Yeah, because there was the last bill, there was a late bill that came in. Yep. Could you repeat that amount again?
$233,985.34.
Any others?
Yeah, under unfinished business, B, waste hauling bid. Trustee Pridemore, motion approved bid recommendation pending contract language.
So this, we have a shortage of words, right?
Yeah, approved bid recommendation pending the contract language.
Okay. Any others? Motion in order.
Make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes as amended.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported that we approve the minutes as amended. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda.
Make a motion that we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Been moved and supported that we accept the consent agenda as presented. Questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Lyson?
Yes.
Trustee Pacoli?
Yes.
Trustee Melander? Yes. Trustee Mankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Quagmore?
Yes.
Trustee Nessick?
Yes.
President Dilbert?
Yes. President items. Item A, financial audit presentation. Ms. Jamie.
Thank that's what I'm going to go over. I always kind of laugh when I'm handing out the information because we say.
Excuse me a minute.
Sure.
YouTube. Thank you.
We always say that we're paperless, and we ask Sandy to upload everything, so we're not having paper shuffled back and forth, and then I bring a whole box of papers for you. But so what you do have in front of you is the governance letter, which I'll touch on later, as well as a full-bound copy of the audited financial statements. So we'll go ahead and get started with the PowerPoint. The first page talks about what an audit is and who can perform it. So an audit can only be issued by a licensed CPA firm, and we must be independent from the village. It is management's responsibility for the preparation and fair presentation of the information provided in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. And then the auditor's responsibility is my team and I come in and we audit the information presented, and then we give you an opinion on the financial statements. And the village was issued an unmodified opinion, which really is the highest level of assurance offered, and it means it's a clean opinion. If you turn to the next page, we have a pie chart here where we charted out the general fund revenue. And you can see the two largest areas that you have are your property taxes, which is 47% of your total general fund revenue coming in, as well as state shared revenue, which is 37% of your total general fund revenue. The total revenue for the year was $1,978,602, which we have a chart on a couple slides back that will show that as well. If you turn to page 4, we have the same type of pie chart, but now we're looking at the expenditures of the village. And you can see from here that really public safety and general government are the two largest areas, each of them coming in at 40%. So if you think about every dollar going out of the general fund, 40 cents of that is related to public safety and 40 cents is related to general government. Now, general government really is the laundry list of categories that were required by the Chart of Accounts to include in there. So if you want to just make a note by that, I will point out it is on page 5-1 in the bound copy that you could go back and look at each line item. What's included in that is the president, village board, clerk, audit, board of review, treasurer, buildings and grounds. All of that's included in your general government number there of the $660,000. And then your public safety is 100% police, which comes in at $651,709. You did have some transfers out, the 13% there on the darker blue section of the pie chart. We transferred money from the general fund to major and local street, both of them at $16,720, as well as $185,000 to the sewer fund too. Page 5 is showing both your revenue and expenditures on one chart. And we do go back and picked up what we were showing for 2015 through 19. So looking at that, you can see 15, 16, 17, and 18 fiscal year ends, you had expenditures, which is the red line above your revenue. And then for 2018, you can see that that switched around. And we had a significant increase there in the blue. That is because the villages were charged to get the audit reports that were not filed timely, done timely, as well as the deficit elimination plan that the state did release the rest of the state shared revenue that they were withholding. So that showed a spike in your revenue for this year too. That was about $377,000. You also had a increase in the property tax values. So the property tax dollars that you get based on those property tax values went up about 6.5% over last year as well. So that's the reason for the significant increase in your revenue. And the little bit of decrease that you see in the red line there for your expenditures really is the reduction in the transfers out to other funds of about $104,000 compared to the prior year. On page 6, we show your general fund balance. And you can see because we had revenue that exceeded our expenditures from as of March 31st that we were able to add to your general fund balance. So we did increase that. You can see from 15, 16, 17, and 18 it's been going down over the past 4 years. And then from 18 to 19 we did have revenue revenue exceed our expenditures, so we were able to add to the fund balance in your general fund. The next couple of pages, now we're switching gears. Instead of looking at your general fund, which is the operating fund of the village, we are looking at the water and sewer funds. So on page 7, we have the water operations. In 2018, I always like to do a comparison of, okay, where were we at in 18 and what happened in 19? You can see in 2018, pretty much broke even that year with revenue and expenses being just about equal. We did have revenue stayed pretty flat this year compared to the prior year. We had a slight increase in the expenditures, the red line there. There was a water main break in the current year, which did cause an increase in usage, so we did see the expense go up a little bit in your water operations for the expenses. So we did have a change, so the expenses exceeded the revenue of about $20,000 over. The revenue was $965,000 with the expenses at $985,000. On page 8, again, same type of graph, but now we're looking at your sewer operations. And you can see from 18 to 19, both our revenue and expense kind of decreased at the same percentage and the same level there. And really that's all related to the SAW grant. So the revenue decreased because last year we had about $348,000 more in SAW grant revenue in 18 than we did in 19. Also, we had some transfers out from other funds decreased. The expenses that we have too, so when you have the SAW grant revenue, we have expenses related to that. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio of the revenue and expense. So we saw the same type of decrease in the expenses there on the red line as well. This year too, there was a reduction in expenses for sewer operations because in 18 we recorded the last of the bad debt expense related to the settlement for the trailer park as well. Slide 9 is your water and sewer fund unrestricted net position. So this is the funds that are not set aside for a specific purpose. They aren't restricted for any specific reason. If we look at water, which is the top there, the blue section, you can see that did decrease about $20,000 over last year. And we are at unrestricted net position of $120,963 in your water fund. The sewer fund is the one that's been in a deficit now, and you can see we increased the deficit from 15 to 16 to 17. Then from 17 to 18, we actually reduced that deficit, so we're moving in the right direction. We reduced it by $172,000 from 17 to 18. And we reduced it even further from 18 to 19 of about $196,000. So we're continuing to move in the right direction. I know the deficit elimination plan is filed with the state, and they want that to be eliminated in 5 years. And because we've extended that 5 years, they say you're moving in the right direction, you're doing the right thing, and thank you for submitting your plan. So we do have that. We are moving in the right direction there. The last item that I want to go over is the communications letter. So that's the stapled copy that you have in front of you. So as your auditors, we are required to report to governance some specific things. And a couple of things I want to point out. On page 2, we do talking about there is one estimate in the financial statements, which is the estimated useful life of your capital assets. So when a capital asset is purchased, we are estimating how long the village is going to use it, and we depreciate it over the useful life. We do talk about the state chart of accounts is revamping their chart of accounts. It's been extended again, and right now there's no deadline or due date that they have. We encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management while we're performing and completing the audit. We do have one material adjustment that we made on the top of page 3. There were an entry that we recorded related to revenue and accounts receivable for Act 51 revenue in the Major Street Fund, which increased revenue and accounts receivable by $27,769. and that was the only material entry that we had this year, which was an improvement over last year too. So I just wanted to point that out. We're pleased to report we had no disagreements with management during the audit. And at the bottom of page 3, we do explain in here too that because of the significant deficit in the sewer fund, that we did add emphasis of a matter paragraph to the opinion in the financial statements too, just to point that out. On page 5, so while we're here doing our audit and looking through everything, we always are doing some management override tests. And one of them that we did this year was just to look at the credit card transactions. So first thing we're looking at, is it an appropriate expenditure? Was it approved? And in our test, we found that everything we tested was an allowable expenditure, but there were 2 immaterial items that did have sales tax on it. So we just wanted to make sure that, the village doesn't have to pay sales tax, so we want to make sure that we're watching those expenditures. And sometimes it's hard with the credit card too to prove that you're from a municipality and that you don't have to pay sales tax. So just wanted to point that out. It's just something that we said was a comment and recommendation is to keep an eye on that. That is all I have to present to you tonight. We covered everything on my last slide, and I do want to point out that my team really enjoys working with Sandy. She had everything uploaded to the portal. We got a head start on it before we actually came out to do field work. We really appreciate the fact that when she has a question, she doesn't wait until audit time for us to walk through it. It's so much easier to figure out what needs to be done, get the right answer, get it taken care of now instead of waiting 8, 9, 10 months down the road when we're here to do the audit. So my team thought she did a really good job, and they wanted to make sure I mentioned that tonight too. So are there any questions that I could answer for you?
I have one on the audit that was emailed to us on 7/4. It says that, see if I can find it here in my notes. It says that the sewer deficit elimination plan was denied by the state. Which one was that? Was that the one we just did? Or
Yes,
the
so
previous one?
their rule is when you first go into deficit, you have 5 years to get out of it. You've been in deficit more than 5 years, so they're going to, we call them to say, hey, they're moving in the right direction. What more do you need to see from them? Sometimes the state's rules are, it's a yes or no, and our rule is you weren't out in 5 years, so we're going to deny it. There's nothing more that I know of that they're doing or withholding any funds at this time. So, you're moving in the right direction. You submitted it on time. They denied it. You weren't out in 5 years. So you can't go back and change what's already happened. So I don't have an answer for you as to what they're going to say or do. I know the manager on the team did call and they said, yep, that's our rule, 5 years, and you weren't out in 5 years.
So will we continue to pass resolutions yearly until it's nothing?
Yes.
We've gone so far as to have the village attorney contact the state treasury department because we're not getting a clear direction, and they have yet to respond to them.
Are there any other questions that I could answer?
I hope Michael doesn't start charging us for the phone calls and things.
No, we do not. Like I said, we appreciate that. You don't know how many times we get out there and we're like, oh, I don't remember what I was trying to do 7 months ago. So we appreciate those phone calls. So.
It's been a process. We've come a long ways.
You sure have. We're very excited. I know Sandy got that check too from the state when they released the money. Like, you let Mike know, and we were doing a happy dance in our office too. So we appreciate all the hard work to get there. I know it's been a long road, but they're timely, and this one's submitted on time. So
Thank you, Jamie.
thank you.
Item B, I'm requesting that the Ways and Means Committee set up a workshop for a committee meeting. Sandy and I are going to be bringing in front of you some water-related conversation as to water billing, some suggestions, so we want to share it with you and get your input before we bring it to the board. So if you could schedule a meeting and just let us know and as soon as possible. The pantry. We own the building. I think we all know that. And the floor in the pantry is in dire need of being refinished. We went out for, and got 3 quotes on having the epoxy replaced and repaired, new epoxy floors in the pantry. And I think you had the bids. Did we send it out? And we are recommending that we accept a low bid from epoxy floor coatings to have the floors in the pantry repaired.
I have a couple questions. Do you want to do that now?
Yeah.
Now it says 2 section. Is there, they're referring to 2 sections or 2 parts?
So they're going to do it in 2 sections because of how the pantry operates. Everything's going to be shifted to one side, and they're going to do half the floor, and then they'll shift everything back, and they'll do the other half.
Okay. And then are they going to do a primer separate from the epoxy, or are they going to do a one-step process?
I think it's they're going to, I think, sandblast the floor. They're going to etch it. There's 3 or 4 steps. And then on top of the epoxy itself, they'll put a urethane coat. But this epoxy will have the sand in it, so it's slip-free.
The only reason I asked that is the other 2 bids, one person was going to use a one-coat system that was the primer and the build coat together, which is really not recommended in a public place because it doesn't last. And the other company was going to do the 2-step process, and theirs just doesn't say what they're going to use. Does it, like, what's the product?
Cindy, you met this guy. I wasn't there before on this bid.
He showed us a sample. It was a 2-step process. He was going to etch the floors. He was going to cover it, and then he was going to put a urethane coating over it that had non-skid stuff in it. And he also said that he would put the color on.
2 flakes.
We saw a sample.
So it's a one-coat process.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
No problem. I don't think there was a final.
Plus urethane, right. Which these are, this one is a 1-coat plus urethane, and this is a 2-coat process. They do the primer separate from the epoxy itself, which is recommended for more in a public place because there's going to be a lot of wear and tear in there, a lot of traffic. And then they do the urethane on top.
The North American Coating Solutions.
Correct. And epoxy floor coatings doesn't tell us what mills they're using either.
Does it show what?
What mill or product they're using. They either did this MSC. I'm not against a low bid, but there's such a variance between this low bid and the other 2 are closer together.
And that was going to be my question when we have a group of bids in one area and then a low bid considerably lower. Do they understand the scope of the work? Are you confident that they do?
Each one of them is a reputable person.
It's just these estimates are very detailed, and this estimate is not.
The North American Coating Solutions, if I'm understanding that one quote correctly, the total price would be $6,548.85.
Correct.
And the other one is what, 7?
Yeah, MSC was $7,040. And then the epoxy coat, $37.50.
I also think this two-part process is better served in the area, but that's my opinion.
You know, while it gets a lot of traffic, it's not like an industrial application. And I've seen the epoxy floors put down in plants. Yes, it's a multi-step. You know, do we want to go with the Cadillac?
Well,
I don't want to buy it twice, I guess.
Well, the Home Depot do-it-yourself has lasted about 10 years. So I would hope that we would probably get, double that. And just on the prep, I think part of the problem when you start doing these floors is the prep or lack of. I would ask that we'll contact a little bidder and bring them back out and make it clear to them what we want. But in the interim, I would ask that you approve this low bid, and if we don't get satisfactory answers from him, then we won't go with it. But we want to try to get this done while the weather is still cooperating. We can't do this, once the temperatures get below, a certain temperature, because we got the doors open and we got to move things outside and, Sandy, write down, if you would please, the 2 or 3 questions that we need to ask. Ask a little bit.
what are all the questions? So what's
Well,
the mill?
it's
What's the mill
irrelevant.
thickness?
Yeah,
We know
it's
that's
irrelevant
two-step.
if,
Without it?
I just kind of feel the questions are irrelevant because it's not going to come back to us for approval again.
If we don't get the right answers, then we won't go forward. And then we will bring it back next month.
And my only concern is if they understand the scope of the work, if they think it's just a quick, easy, whatever, and then there's actually more involved in it, and that's that affected their quote.
I was never told that. Well, I wasn't there, but I was never told that. I was told that the guy was very, he was very attentive and I think he's an independent individual, and maybe he doesn't have the overhead as the other company. Personally, I was disappointed with the 3rd bid, and I say that because he's local, and I fully expected him to give us the best bid, and when in fact he gave us the highest bid. And I think he looked at it as a municipality, let me get what I can get.
My question would be, are they priming, are they going to do the epoxy prime first, and then the epoxy coat, and then the urethane, so it's actually 3 steps at the end of the day, and what the mills of the product is?
What the finished thickness is. Yeah. We will be very clear in our questions, and if we don't get the right answers, then we won't go forward.
Well, they're offering thicknesses, this North American coating,
Okay.
that, it should be approximately 30 at the end of the day,
Okay.
plus the poly.
Because even the other one, the second bidder, he was recommending, what he was only doing a 1 coat.
Yeah, that's why I asked this question. I just My experience tells me that in a public space, the two-part is a better process. But
Okay. Can we get a motion on the low bid?
I move that we go with the epoxy floor coatings for the pantry floor in the amount of $3,750.
Support. Been properly moved and supported. That we accept the low bid of $3,750, contingent upon getting satisfactory answers from the bidder. Any questions on the motion?
Thank you, that's what the contingency part was what I wanted to hear.
Questions on the motion? And when it comes to that contingency part, like I said, you know, we have two bidders well, we have one bidder that says one code, one bidder that says two code, one bidder that doesn't give us a number. Now, I don't know who around this table is the expert. So with that being said, roll please.
Trustee Polly?
Yes.
Trustee Malinger? Yes. Trustee Myson?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
yes.
Trustee Pybor?
Yes.
Trustee Neshek?
Yes.
President Ziller?
Yes. Thank you. Cindy Combs.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. I've come here to request your help. I'll give you a little background first. I purchased my home on Main Street in 1995. When I purchased my home, I was told that I had all city services. I had no reason to question it. This past winter, I had a plumbing issue. And the issue was that the pipe leading from the house out to the sanitary sewer was broken. I had a plumber come in, he said it's a one-day job, we can get this all taken care of. I thought that was pretty good. When he started digging to replace the pipe, I discovered that I was not hooked up to the sanitary sewer system. He found a septic tank which discharged into a drain field in my backyard. So I'm coming here tonight to ask for your help. My house has been unlivable since the end of April, and I am trying to get a reimbursement for the money I've spent in the sewer charges that I did not have actual use of. I do have a number here. It's $3,732.18. I did a spreadsheet. I'm sorry, I don't have copies for everyone. Based on information I received back from the village, I requested this from them. I need this money to complete the project so the house is livable again. And I'd like you to consider that. And are there any questions?
Have you already talked to somebody in the office concerning?
Yeah, I've been talking to people in the office.
Okay. And this is the money that you spent on sewer charges?
Yeah, on my water bill. It was added up from my water bill since 1995 when I moved into the house.
Okay.
I I've been paying it since then,
Okay.
but was never actually.
Now, this doesn't include the sewer charge, the debt charge, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Is anyone in the office talking to Ms. Combs about that?
Oh, yeah, there's been communication. I think you all have a copy of the communication.
It was in the backup documents. I guess my question, President Zolbert, so in the correspondence you had mentioned about wanting to make sure that we had some sort of verification about the sewer not being connected.
Yes.
Is your expectation that we should have that from DPW, or is the estimate that we have from Brass Plumbing Professional?
Well, there's been these two companies out. One talked about running into some clay pipe, which back then was typical. The other talked about the septic tank, which is also typical, not to remove a septic tank when you do connect. And I say this from experience, when you just run a pipe through it. So you don't necessarily have to remove the tank. So we are not convinced that they've never been hooked up. DPW put the camera in the system at Main Street. They fed the camera, which would be going east. They could see in the system the T where it should be hooked up to. But of course they don't, that camera cannot fit up in that T and go that route. So we know that the T does exist, but we're not totally convinced that it's never been hooked up.
The T could have been installed just as they were laying the sewer line, right? In
So,
preparation.
yes. I mean, that would have been put in when the system was built and before that house was hooked up.
Has anybody contacted the health department because they track reusable septic systems?
I've been everywhere in the county. I've been to Macomb County Health Department, I've been to the Drain Commission in Macomb County. There is no record of the house having a septic field, septic tank at all. There's no record of it. I've asked here, and I've been told that there is no record of this house ever being hooked up. I have requested a tap record, and I did not get a tap record. I received a copy of a inspection report from 2004 from a company that went through and inspected all the sanitary sewer, and there are taps indicated on that map, but it doesn't say that a particular address is hooked up to a particular tap. This is as much information as I've been able to find. I couldn't even find when the sanitary sewer was actually run. I've been told it happened sometime in the 70s, but I wasn't here then.
No, I think it was set up. I think it was way before that.
It could have been.
Has a septic inspection been completed? Because that would verify the usage of the tank, which should be pumped every 5 years. So my guess would be it would be.
I was never aware that I had a septic tank. I was told when I bought the house, and I have it in my paperwork, at my sale paperwork, that says that according to the city offices, I had all city services.
Well, the health department in 1995 would have had to verify that you had a septic if they did, because
I went there, they had no records of this address ever having an inspection, ever having a septic tank or septic.
So the septic could have been.
Nothing.
could have, well, I guess that's to my point. Before 1995, legislation locally stated Macomb County is one of the few counties in southeastern Michigan where in order to transfer a property, you have to have a septic inspection if it's actively hooked up. So they wouldn't have even allowed the property transfer to take place.
Right.
So my strong suggestion would be a septic inspection, which costs about $300, because an independent septic inspector would be able to verify whether that tank's been in use at all over the past, I mean, like I said, 5 years is pushing the limits on pumping out a septic. So if it's been used since 1995, it'd be extremely evident with minimal invasion. would be my opinion.
I
I'm
think
not
the
sure
tank
how
has
they
probably
did
been
it.
destroyed
Yeah.
now. I think the one contractor destroyed the tank.
You still should be able to inspect the head of it where the filter is.
I'm gonna,
Yeah.
yeah.
Could, if from inside the house, if you were to go to the main sewer out?
That's part of the problem. That's where the pipe is broken from just outside of the house to the tank. And I do have a copy, I don't know if you have this, the Brass Plumbing Professionals. This is my original plumber that I had come out who discovered this. Diagnostics required finding the line outside of the house to tie into the city sewer system. In the process, we discovered an old two-stage septic tank that was still connected to the house sanitary drains that were leading to a drain field in the back of the house. And this shows that the house was never connected to the city system. The city system is out the front of my house. Because I'm on Main Street, the requirement would have been for the homeowner who owned the home at the time to connect to the Main Street. And the outlet pipe goes into the backyard, into a drain field. I never knew I had a septic system. It was never pumped out. I used it this whole time. So if the pipe is going towards the back of the house, and there's no pipe heading out towards the front of the house where the sewer is, my plumber says that this indicates that I was never hooked up.
Let me give you a scenario. And let's say all this is true. The bottom line is she's required to hook up to the system. Pay the necessary fees, pay the work to be done, and then if she wishes to stake claim against the village. But to stake claim without verifying that it's never been done, I think we'd be opening up a can of worms that we don't want to open. Because I'm looking at two plumbers and I'm interpreting two different things. The existence of a septic tank does not mean that it was never tapped in. Septic tanks typically are not removed when you tap in. Okay. And the direction of the pipe leaving the house has to be verified. And so it's unfortunate, but it's, I mean, you bought a property and you were told that, that you were part of the system. It's unfortunate. But until the work is completed and we get a certified letter from the contractor that does the work says, we found no evidence of it ever being connected, there's not much we can do for you.
Would the village have a record when people hook up to the
You
sanitary
know, the record
sewer
keeping in this
system?
community going back, and this is this house was built in
1939.
1939.
And I have no idea when the sewer went through.
And I don't either.
I wasn't
Yeah.
here. The thing is, I borrowed money to get the job done in the first place. The guy came out to do the job, couldn't do the job. I still had to pay him for his time. That pulled out of the money that I had to get the job done in the first place. I can't get this job done. I can't live in the house. I was asking for your help. When the sewer system went through, the requirement was for anybody with less than 12,000 square foot of a lot to hook up. We're not eligible to run off of a sewer or a septic system. The square footage on my lot is 10,000. So the house would have been required to be hooked up when this ran through. It's in the ordinances. It's there. I bought the house under the assumption with paperwork that said that I was part of the sanitary sewer system, part of the public system. I never thought to question it. Never even entered my mind, I'm on Main Street. Why would I not be? It's not like the sewer system went through 10 years ago. So,
Is there some way that the plumber who was going to do the work to originally hook you up, looks like the second quote?
the second quote came after my first guy said he could follow the line and just put the new stuff in and hook up. He was ready to do that. Then, when he discovered that tank, he had the DPW come out. They had a little confab there in his side yard, and it was determined then, and we learned since that this was incorrect, that the sewer line was across Main Street. And my guy was not prepared to do that kind of work. So he backed out of the job, but I still had to pay him for his day. I contacted a second company once I had information that said that the sewer was actually right in front of the house, just between the sidewalk and the street. It's still 11 and a half feet down. I asked my first guy if he could you do it. It's not across the street, but it is 11 and a half feet down, and he still declined the job. So I had to get a second quote. This second quote is willing to do the work, but it's for the same amount of money that I originally borrowed that I've had to dip into to pay my first one. So I'm stuck. I can't get this work done, and that's why I'm requesting ahead of the reimbursement. Because my original plumber says that the discharge for that tank does not go out the front. It goes out the back.
Does anyone on the table, I'm sorry, does anyone on the board have any suggestions? We can move this along.
Okay, can DPW verify which direction the pipe goes in, front or back?
Yes, we verified where the sewer pipe is in the front of the property. We verified where connections are, 30 feet, 35 feet off of catch basin. We marked it out numerous times in front of the property. We were over there for the whole project. My big question was it ever cambered? Because you would have found out what you're dealing with in the first place if it was cambered in the first place.
Is there any possibility that there could be a hookup in the back of the house?
It could be. Back in the day, they ran things every which way. It could be. We don't know. That's a question I can't answer.
Is there any way that we could have like some sort of agreement at the table that if the work is done and it turns out that she isn't hooked up to the sewer, then we would, you know, give her the credit for the 3732?
I don't have no problem with that. Okay.
It's just that it obviously will put you in a situation where if it is hooked up all along, then the work's done and now you're in a real tight spot.
And that's where my reservation is with refunding the sewer charges without being able to verify that the house is not hooked up to the sewer. I mean, that's kind of what we have to do.
Because they conceivably, back in the day, that sewer line could have been ran through an easement going out back to Luke Street. Now we know there's a stub on Main Street, but they may have hired Sammy to hand dig it going out to Luke Street. I mean, you just don't know what was done back then. And especially when you're dealing with that clay pipe, you just don't know.
I just think we establish a really slippery precedence if we don't have adequate proof. And from an inspection perspective, yes, it's gonna be costly, which is frustrating because it's already costly, but there's a lot of different inspections that could take place that would verify and actually provide that clarification.
It's gonna provide clarification, but the fact of the matter is, the work still has to be performed by the homeowner.
Yeah.
And let us not dare to cross that line.
If we have, dare I say it, but if like a DPW goes out to where that T is, back goes down,
Not gonna happen.
It's a liability issue.
Not gonna happen.
I mean, so what are the options as far as the inspection goes that we could,
It wouldn't be on us to do.
not we, but I mean.
We would be on the site, for any work that's done, we would be on site
Right.
to inspect the work that's being done.
So if Mrs. Combs has a contractor dig down at the T, so if there's.
See if there's a connection there.
Right. That at least wouldn't cost as much, and that would be, and then we could have DPW validate that.
I think that's a very, very small part of this whole cost. The cost itself is the depth of the sewer, which sewers are deep and, you know, and it's just the time, you know, the time and the effort. I mean, it's gonna be, you know, it's gonna take the right contractor with the right knowledge to, you know, to do it and do it right.
Because no matter what, the contractor's gonna have to dig at the T anyway, right? So if you had the contractor at least dig right at the T, validate that whether or not there's a
There's
connection.
no, and verify there's no pipe there.
If he's that far, then he might as well do the whole job.
Well, right,
Because
but if you do find that it is connected to the sewer there, then obviously there wouldn't be any refund of charges.
and that's why we would be on site for an inspection.
Right, and then if you can't move forward because of the lack of a refund, then at least you're only in that far now.
Yeah, we would be on site for an inspection, but I mean, he has to dig down anyway to get there, and he's probably gonna damage the sidewalk, and see, that's another part of the job that we're not gonna accept that, you know, that liability.
Is there any way to dig far enough away from the sidewalk so there's no damage, but still?
I think you go 11 feet down, you're gonna have,
You have the sidewalk and the water main right there.
because you gotta make a hole big enough, because you gotta, you worry about collapse, and
And I didn't realize, I just heard you say 11 feet down, I didn't realize it was that deep.
and of course, we got the road right there, so we gotta make sure that we don't undercut that road.
Yeah. I was thinking just a little.
Would be nice. We'd like it to be simple, but at every turn, it's just turned into something different. I thought it was, first of all, it was bad enough having the pipe break. You know, and it was that floating below cold snap is what they attributed it to. And when he took a look, he said, yeah, it's an old clay pipe. I've got schedule 40, we'll just bring it out here, give you a clean out, head out to the connection, we just follow the clay pipe out to the connection. Well, when we follow the clay pipe, you get a tank. And then he dug all the way around the tank and found the discharge pipe not heading towards Main Street, but heading towards the backyard. Now, if it goes all the way down Root Street, how far is that? That's
the way.
that's 3 houses back, and I have to go through people's front yards. I can't even, you know, and this is something that I never expected. I never expected a septic tank.
I would recommend, honestly, to get the plumber to camera. That's the key. You have to camera to see. If
Okay,
you
so
have
where is he supposed to put the camera? What am I supposed to tell him to do? The pipe from the
If
house
you
is
have-
broken.
is that your only outlet for
Yes.
sewer? Because
It's the only
there could be
outlet.
one in your basement somewhere.
That is the one that's broken, the one that's just outside the wall.
Okay, so the other pipe that's going, so-called going around the house, camera that. Dig it right there, and you can push the camera.
The only
If
other
it's
pipe
clogged,
I
you have
know
to
is
get
the
it
one that
unclogged.
comes out of the septic tank. So you wanting to get into the septic tank and run a camera out from there?
Yes.
I'm just trying to understand.
See if it
this.
goes
I'm
to a
not
field.
plumber.
Yeah, see if it goes to a field or
See
something.
if it goes to a field, or maybe it goes,
That's what he said, is it went to the field in the backyard, and that's where it terminated. That's what he says, but You're right, he didn't put a
He
camera
didn't put a
in it.
camera in to verify that. We need verification. Ma'am, I'll take, we are willing to give some consideration
Okay.
after the fact.
I'll contact him and see if he's got a camera or knows somebody with a camera and see if we can figure this out. I mean, if that pipe is only 8 foot long and it ends in my backyard, then I guess I'm coming back. And if,
And if he does it, Northwest Drain Solutions out of Hazel Park does it for about $200. I mean, honestly, they
And if this
scope.
tank didn't go to a field, you would have had issues long ago.
That's why I don't understand how this whole thing is happening, because it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. I mean,
I think
since
there's some
22
unknowns
years and I never pumped out the tank.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't understand it myself. I'm not a plumber, so. Work is.
Can I request to be present when this camera leaves? Okay.
Can you say that again?
It's like if you just Google AAAA, and they're under also Northwest Drain Solutions, but there's a million of them that do specifically drain scopes. I mean, they're a dime a dozen, there's a lot of them.
And then you're gonna call the DPW supervisor and arrange a time for him to come out there with you, with the camera.
Okay. All right. And that's what I'll do.
Thank you for working with us.
Well, if it's discovered that it's not hooked up to anything and it just ends in the drain field, do I need to come back here again, wait another month, come back here again? Or do I just submit the report and then
You need to,
what do I do?
you still need to have the work done. Hmm?
Everything would have to be completed before there's
Yeah. You still need to have the work done.
Well, if the scoping comes back and shows that she's definitely not hooked up to the sewer, could we conditionally approve then the 3732? Because it shows that she's not hooked up to the sewer.
I think we'd be on a very slippery slope. Let's be careful. And I say that because there's at least 2 other situations similar to this out there.
What's dare I ask, well, what's the slippery slope? If she has verification that she's not hooked up to the sewer, that would be sufficient to Marcus's,
The work needs to be done, and because the fact that it possibly wasn't connected, I would certainly wait on a legal opinion as to our position.
I was hoping we could resolve this without any kind of legal issues. I mean, if I can prove that it's not hooked up, it's not hooked up. I don't want to make this any bigger than it needs to be. I'm not suggesting that anybody else in the village is in the same boat I'm in. This is individual, and I would like to keep this friendly. I don't want to involve other people.
Why don't you get the camera services going and have Marcus come out and then we can take it from there. We can make a decision. Can we do
There's a
that?
lot of question marks right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's get the camera
Okay.
stuff done first, okay?
And then I can submit that report and,
Then we'll review it, we'll talk to the DPW supervisor, we'll review it, okay?
okay.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, nothing.
I just want to get it.
Yeah, we just can't do anything.
Unfortunately, nothing in government works fast.
Yeah.
That's the problem. We
Now,
gotta
if
go
I was you, I would just get it hooked up. I wouldn't waste $200 on having this go.
Well, back when it went in, could I ask a question? Because I don't really understand this, I've never gone through this, didn't expect to go through this. So when it originally went through, were people given an opportunity to have the cost put on your taxes, put on your water bill, some kind of an abatement program to help people get hooked up. I don't know, I don't understand how it works, I'm not a plumber. So I don't know, is that something that was maybe done back then? I don't know, what do other communities do when they have a ton of people, but all of a sudden they have to get on the system?
I've heard of some rural communities where they're expected to pay right up front the homeowners.
Okay, see, I don't know, so that's why I'm asking.
But some rural communities, like when they pave the roads, they do it over a 5-year arc.
Right.
But a lot of communities, they tell the homeowner, if you want to tap into it, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars up front. So that's probably, considering the size of New England, I've just taken an educated guess, that's probably what happened here. They went to the homeowners and said,
Here it is, hook it up.
yeah, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars. So. Is there any way, did you buy you didn't buy the home from the original owner, did you?
No, I don't believe she was the original owner. No.
Okay, all right.
And when paperwork came through and changed hands, the appraisers said that they checked with the city office, and the city office verified that everything was on city services. So I never thought to question it.
Just say verified, I think there was probably an assumption. Were you given something?
I have. So when it's a uniform residential appraisal report, I have it from my original paperwork. We compared 3 other addresses to my address. And it says here under data and or verification sources, it says physical inspection at city office. And everything for city services is checked off.
Do you have anything in terms of like a seller's disclosure statement or a prior MLS?
They signed a disclosure statement, and I know that this is something I would have to go back to them on. They signed a disclosure statement that said everything was city services. So they assumed that they were on city services at the time also.
Okay. We're going to move on. You know what we suggested what you need to do, and let's make sure you're in contact with DPW.
Yes, and I'll make sure that whoever comes out to do that camera scoping coordinates with Marcus, and we get that verification done. Okay.
All righty. Thank you.
And so I just provide a report to the village office, and do I need to get back on the agenda?
Well, let Marcus talk to the village president and we'll do something on it.
If you do a camera scope, they'll provide you with actual footage of the scope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Item F. Oh, item E. Belinda Ashford Walton, which she gets on the agenda once a year and never shows. But anyways. She did it again. Item F, resolution. You've seen when we approved the sidewalk replacement, we forgot to do the resolution, and it has to be done by resolution, not just a simple motion. So we're bringing this back to you to adopt this resolution to approve the repair replacement of sidewalks within the village of New Haven.
Are these the resolutions that have to be the supermajority?
No, I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
19-010. This is already, I mean, maybe an obvious question, but this has already gone through, or, you know.
Yeah, we've approved all the other steps, and we've approved the dollars amount, we've approved the work, and somehow we forgot to,
Put a ring on it.
we had to do a resolution. It has to be done by resolution, not just a simple motion.
It's kind of a cleanup action.
Okay, so I will make a motion to make a resolution for, you have your open, I don't have it. 19-010, a resolution to approve repair replacement of certain sidewalks within the village of New Haven.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we adopt resolution number 19-010 to approve the repair replacement of sidewalks within the village of New Haven. Any questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee Jankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Tyson?
Yes.
Trustee Pagoli?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Gilbert?
Yes. Thank you. Attorney items. I'm going to speak on the first one. The GFL contract was just received yesterday. I sent it out requesting any comments. I know there's some highlights that that they recognize that need to be corrected, and I instructed Sandy to make sure that the actual fee schedule be a part of the actual contract. We're going to have a special meeting, because I know this contract is going to go back and forth probably a couple of times, because I did request some certain language being there that would give us an out. And because we just received it yesterday, I would suggest that we take no action. And we'll have to schedule a special meeting to deal with this prior to October 1st. So we'll try to get it in the next week or two to give them a chance to transition over.
The language that you're including is that the out if they don't perform their services up to par.
Yes.
You probably more ask for.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw section 12, the termination and default by contractor, but I wasn't quite sure if that was.
No.
No, that's done. But
There's a
14
termination on
says-
your side, and there's a termination on
Or
our
I'm
side.
sorry, yeah, section 13, failure to perform beyond control of the contractor. That was maybe it. One of them, it seemed like there was one of them in here that seemed like it was similar, but not quite.
Yeah,
what we
there's
were
one
asking.
that's out of their control, like a natural disaster or
Right.
Yeah.
something like
That's
that.
13.
Yeah, that's,
Yeah, there was two default sections. One
Right.
Yeah, 12 is
Yes.
if they fail to perform, but they give themselves a 30-day out, and that's not acceptable by law. So,
So 30 days, so what, I mean, we have to be reasonable, so you think 30 days is not acceptable, and like, what's up?
in Chesterfield, there were complaints that garbage wasn't picked up on the street. They were told to bring the garbage back in their garage or whatever for pickup the following week. That happened in several neighborhoods several times. Is that acceptable?
But I think the 30 days though is,
If the
Okay, I see.
default specified by the village is not capable of cure within 30 days of notice,
so they could.
They want 30 days to pick up garbage from
30 days
somebody's
to
garage.
Yeah. Now, the complaints we're getting is that they're emailing them as a point of contact and they're not getting a response.
Well, yeah, they have a horrible reputation. for-
Well, then, well, that's what I'm saying though. We
Yeah.
can't, if this happens one time, you understand, with waste management, there's always a point of contact. They pick the garbage up on the following Monday.
Yeah, and actually to that point, since we are talking about some modifications to the contract, could we have verbiage in here where they actually have to have a point of contact?
yes, that was made clear to them, that their route manager, that they would have a designated route manager.
Yeah, because with waste management, I personally have the route supervisor's cell phone, and I know I can call that person and if there's an issue.
Yeah.
They have
that same
something
level
in
of service.
They have that, some of that language in there for the contract documents to be found in the RFP, and it's in the RFP, but if it could actually be in the
Yeah.
contract itself,
Right.
so you're not referring to a secondary document.
Yeah.
And these are the kind of comments that I want you, guys to submit in writing to myself, Al, and Sean.
We'll get it done. We agree with all those, and we'll put
We
it
want this language to be in the contract.
Because there's a lot of concern about GFL after the meetings. I mean, so we want to make sure that it's shored up and.
I think it's funny because I've heard just as much about waste management, they harass the guy, feel bad for the employees because they harass them, but it's regardless.
So I think that there probably needs to be two timelines, because I think that 30 days to come pick up garbage that they failed to pick up is too long, but also there needs to be like a cancellation because we don't want to be left with, like, I think 30 days, like after you're provided notice, then your contract would be terminated 30 days thereafter, which is, I don't, in my opinion, protection two ways.
Put it in
It
writing.
allows us to,
Yes.
So, yeah, I think the designation is, or the differentiation, you're talking, we're mixing up service level agreement where you have, if a complaint is made, you have 7 days to correct it.
Right.
Compared
Yes.
to the written notice of contract.
But also
Termination,
the volume of complaints,
Yeah.
the sheer volume. If we have multiple incidents, failure to pick up, waste, then no, this isn't working out. So we need a time frame and how many infractions. So,
I don't disagree with you. I was just asking, like, what do you think is a reasonable time frame?
yeah, absolutely. But I'm also looking at the number of complaints received within a time frame. So,
Mr. President, if
you want emails?
since we're going to be dealing with this, and Sean and I and others, everything you said here tonight, we're taking copious notes, at least Sean is, and we'll try to include all these things. I encourage all of you, this is an important contract, and it's an important contract because everybody has garbage. So whatever ideas you have, please email them to us, text them to us, call us on the phone and give them to us, and we will incorporate all those that are legally acceptable to make the contract as favorable as it can be to the village, but as legal and fair to everybody. All these are great ideas, but we want to roll them into one because we just got the contract from them yesterday and time is of the essence. So don't be shy. Send it to us, call us on the phone, do whatever, and we'll work them in.
I can appreciate the sending you guys the information. My only hesitation is that some of the things that we're suggesting maybe need to be discussed here at the table amongst all of us.
Well, they will have to be at the end. What we'll do is incorporate them in a document that they can stay in or come out, and then you guys always make the final decision.
When did we request the contract?
I think the day after the last meeting.
So it took a month to get a contract?
Well, we found it a little odd, but you know, these companies are changing their contracts, moving things around. We asked right away. Everybody here was supposed to do their job on the board and otherwise, and in the administrative office. We asked, we pushed. We have a set of emails that show that. And Sean kept sending, but we finally got it. The point is, we have a very short period of time to get it done, and we want to get it done in the proper way. So all these suggestions are right. The governmental entity, the village needs an out if things aren't working. They have a right, if we for some reason stiff them, which will never happen, to get out. And getting those terms right for final improvement, and you're right, by this board means send them to us. We're going to create a document where things can stay in, like a convertible document. Things can come in, things can come out. And it'll be final presentation. Does that make sense to you, Sean?
Yes, sir.
All right.
You want a deadline of Friday for the suggestions?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Can we get an agreement here amongst all of us when to Trustee Bonkowski's point about what's an acceptable SLA? So if there's a complaint that somebody's trash isn't picked up, in my opinion, and I'm asking everybody else if you agree, should be resolved by the next week. So
I would hope so.
well, but they have a reputation of it going multiple
Well,
weeks, so that's why
your reputation-
I want to make sure that it's something's defined.
Let me say this, you know, when I hear that it hasn't been picked up for 30 days, then next Friday you can put your garbage out.
they're saying that entire streets are missed for multiple weeks on end. And of course, it's just what we're hearing. You know, so that's why I say, you know, so if you know, to me, I think like it would be an acceptable SLA that if trash is missed, a complaint is filed, that GFL would have 1 week to correct it, which would be the next trash pick.
Yeah, the next good day.
Right.
But we keep track of how many times that happens.
Right.
Okay, so we got until Friday to submit our suggestions, yes?
Yes.
That's up to the board. I can't
Yes.
put deadlines on you guys.
Friday, because, you know, we've had, we've met and we had our committee together, and unfortunately now a lot of things are coming up. So yes, let that drag us out because we have October 1.
Right. That's why I'm pushing for us to discuss it here, is because if we're going to get the updated copy at a special meeting, if there's further changes that
No,
need to
you're
be
going to
made.
update a copy prior to a special meeting.
Okay.
When will that be?
That I don't know yet.
Can we make that a motion tonight for having a special meeting?
Yes.
Probably, I would suggest the 24th, just 2 weeks from now.
Do we need a motion for that?
Yes.
I will not be here if we do it that week.
It's just a suggestion, I just put it out there because it's the week before and give us 2 weeks, so a week to get our submissions in, a week to work on the contract and get it to us and review it, and then we can have a meeting.
Dare I ask, if we don't get into a contract with GFL by October 1st, I mean, is there any like month to month with waste management that they would be able to continue service?
Yes.
Not that I wanted to go past that, but.
I'd also say with a lot of what's happening online, I'm a bit frustrated because I feel like people tend to come out on Facebook and in social media when things are going wrong, and nobody's gonna go on social media and be like, I just love my trash people, they're amazing.
I talked to residents face to face.
And I get that, and I'm not saying that mistakes aren't being made, I'm saying that the past 2 weeks, it's been blowing up on social media, and I feel like there's been a lot of fuel added to the fire, and we've had several instances where we've invited people out to voice opinions, and they haven't. And then there were even comments as soon as this week where we're gonna have 15 people, and we just don't. It's like, I think if you go to a restaurant and you love it and they ask you for reviews, you're likely to say it was the best steak I ever had. But I'm not personally logging onto Facebook to just rant and rave about how great the trash people are, even though they have been. Waste management has been decent, and I've never experienced GFL, but I think that there's perspective there because it does tend to be one of those trades where like people aren't being invited
To dinner.
Right.
Okay, so Friday for suggestion.
Okay, we're talking about a special meeting.
Right.
24th was suggested,
I'm not available that evening.
and we need to pick another date, so we need a quorum.
Monday the 23rd?
Monday the 23rd?
Just so you're not available that week at all.
I am going to be in Mexico, so no.
Don't drink the water. Or the booze.
Well, it's a cruise technically, so I'll be like between several places.
23rd going once?
I think
Going
it's
first?
As long as I can get
push
it.
it.
23rd
So you're a
good?
maybe.
I'm
Ryan's a maybe.
more than likely, yes, as long as I can get a
Do
base.
you have a time preference?
I mean, I guess at this point, I would prefer that we do it next week, and they have opportunity to make this happen or not. We always have the right
We're
to.
trying to give them time to format a contract.
Well, the date's the 10th.
Mr. Alves, do you think a week is?
Today's, yeah.
We're doing suggestions until the 13th, so you gotta give them time to. Right.
What about Thursday the 19th?
If I get suggestions by Friday, I can write it over the weekend. That's not a
We'll
problem.
have it ready as soon as we get the suggestion.
The
Okay.
question is, when we give it to them,
Well,
they
Thursday the 19th.
And that's what I was talking about, it's gonna go
Are they
back and forth.
Huh?
Because they may-
What about Wednesday the
Yeah,
18th?
Yeah, they will.
Wednesday the 18th. How about Wednesday
Wednesday
the
the
18th?
18th.
I'm available
I can do
Wednesday
that.
the 18th. Yes, I can do
Wednesday
that.
the 18th?
6:30?
6:30?
I make a motion that we hold a special meeting Wednesday, September 18th at 6:30.
Support.
6:30?
Yes.
6:30. Okay. Where we at here?
All those in favor?
Oh, I'm sorry. That was a motion. Shh. It's been properly moved and supported that we hold a special meeting on Wednesday, the 18th at 6:30 p.m. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The hawking and peddling ordinance, were we?
We asked for council feedback last time.
Yeah, did we get any feedback? Did we?
Yeah, I had exchanged some emails with Sean.
Oh, okay. We prepared one. Okay. So we're working on that?
It's done, right? I mean, you're happy with it.
Oh, it's done.
Yeah.
We got a copy.
I didn't give you one. Sorry.
What else? Let's see. So are we prepared to adopt the new ordinance?
We've prepared an ordinance that is in accord with the law that changes some of the language and some of the lines, but it's constitutional, we think, and it works. If council members have not seen it, then obviously they're probably not prepared to vote on it, but it's ready to go. And you can vote again at the next meeting if that becomes necessary.
It's not been defined, and it just requires that they have the permit visible on their personal.
You got the fine,
The fines, that's right.
modern levels, and you gotta have a identifying permit on you.
We'll put it off, let's put it off for another month.
Everyone has a copy.
Has everyone seen it?
It was in our packet.
Yeah, it was in our backup documents.
We thought it was.
Ordinance 367, solicitation, hawking, and peddling
Okay.
amendment.
Yeah, 367.
Yeah, it was in the backup docs of,
Yeah, and the zip file, wasn't it?
yeah, that's where,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
'cause
fine.
you
Then
got,
open it,
yeah, you gotta open the zip file and see it.
Then are we satisfied with the new language in there? Then the motion's in order.
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance number 367 and amend it to sections 8.00 and 11.00 of the existing Village of New Haven solicitation ordinance number 324. Support.
You can give it to Justin, yeah.
Been properly moved and supported that we adopt ordinance number 367
I'm just glad you made a motion, because I didn't want to.
pertaining to hawking and peddling.
I was waiting for it to finish the.
Any questions on the motion? And does this wipe out 324, Mr. Kelly?
I'm sorry, President Gilbert, I apologize.
Does it do away with ordinance number 324?
That's correct. Well, no, it merely amends it.
It amends.
Yeah,
So it's amending 324,
that's correct.
and it's becoming 367.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any questions on the motion?
Once this amendment is passed and published and everything like that, is there any way we can then publish it to Macomb County Sheriff's Department, make sure they're aware of it, especially with the offense fines and all that?
We can share it with them.
Just make sure that we have their support.
Yeah. Any other questions? Roll, please.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee McCauley?
Yes.
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Gilbert?
Yes. Thank you. Payment of bills.
I move that we pay the bills in the amount of $339,866.58. Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we pay the bills in the amount of $339,866.58. Questions on the motion? Roll, please.
Trustee McCauley?
Yes.
Trustee Meissen?
Yes.
Trustee Bellinger?
Yes.
Trustee Pankowski?
Yes.
Trustee Pridemore?
Yes.
Trustee Hatchett?
Yes.
President Gilbert?
Yes. Treasury report.
Total village cash asset of $3,486,343.
$3.30.
Make a motion that we receive and file the treasurer's report.
Support.
Been moved and supported that we receive and file the treasury report. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The clerk is requesting any items for October be submitted by September 29th. Village to City Committee.
As promised, this is the report that we're going to submit to council to be received and filed. It likely touches on all the major topics that we went through on the committee that we started back in May. If you have any questions on it, let me know, but it was, again, just to reiterate, it was the committee's recommendation that we not pursue becoming a city.
That was a good read.
Yeah.
I you know, when I can sit on the couch and read, and this may sound weird, I actually enjoy what I'm reading. Some things I'm like, okay, that's enough of that.
Will this report be published?
Published, or it's public record?
Yeah. And the purpose of receiving and filing would be in case there's a committee in the future that the village want, they have something to build off of, because we kind of didn't, so we went a lot off of MML and stuff like that, so now we have like a groundwork for if the future committee decides they really want to start.
And if we choose, because I don't know what the public is saying or thinking on this subject, and I don't do it on social media much, so, you know, if we want to publish this report, I'm not opposed to that, because it is definitely transparent, clear, and
Yeah, it's well laid out and explained and thorough, and I think, you know, I don't anticipate any questions, but I can always, you know, every now and then somebody might bring it up, oh, why don't we go to a city? Maybe it'd be beneficial if this is published on our village website, and just send them the link and say, hey, you know, we actually did look into it, here's the report.
Yeah.
Just, you know, quash any concerns.
I think we should, a motion in order to accept this report.
Make a motion that we receive and file the Village to City Committee report.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported that we receive and file the Village to City report. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you again to that committee, Mrs. Bellinger, Mr. Capoli, who else?
Andy Rozick,
Andy,
Brian Churchill,
Lucy, Ryan,
Lucy, and Rachel.
and Rachel. Yeah. They did a good job.
I'm glad there's something recorded though, because we really, I mean, we know that it had been done before, but nothing had been established.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm happy to see that report as well.
Mr. Meisen, website.
Yes, for the website upgrade. So last month when I gave the update, it was with the understanding that it would have been live for the past few weeks by now. But as with everything, things worked slower than anticipated. So today I got in contact with SYO, our IT vendor, for them to make the necessary updates to our website, which will then make the redesign live. So the full going live can take up to 24 hours once they make their change to the DNS records. So some people might actually see the new website before others, but within about 24, 48 hours, everybody will see the updated website. And then Mrs. Rodzik and myself will have the ability to make any updates to the website or any changes that are necessary. So should be live hopefully by the end of this week.
Hopefully, because there's some stuff we
Yeah, it really needs to be done. Yeah, it really needs to be done.
New business, planning commission update.
The Planning Commission met on the last Tuesday, the 3rd, and we approved plans for the Gratiot Liquor Shop. Actually, it's going to be a plaza at 26 and Gratiot, where the Coyote property currently sits, as well as there's 2 houses next to it. They'll also be demolished. That's about it. We approved those plans, so hopefully.
You approved the site plan?
We approved the site plan, correct. So hopefully.
Is there any consideration as to what's going to happen with that current plaza? Has there been any talks about
What
that?
current plaza?
That they're moving out of?
Right here?
Well, he rents that space.
Right, I'm aware of
So,
that.
no, I haven't inquired.
What about their timeline? It looks like one of the houses they vacated.
Both houses.
Both houses are vacated?
Mhm.
Very nice.
There's still a few more things to be done.
There's a few
So-
hurdles.
Yeah.
Spring.
Because he's still got to get the utility pole
Yeah.
moved, and the building's got to be taken down, and the site got to be prepped. Yeah, there's still a few hurdles there. And some of the delay was caused by, to be quite honest. That's my opinion.
That's a learning curve. It's new to him, so.
He was told long ago, step aside and hire a firm and who knows how to do this and do it. You know, he was trying to do too much himself and he didn't know the ins and outs.
I'm excited to see it come to fruition.
Mhm. It's a decent sized plaza. There'll be
4
1,
units?
2, 3, 4 units.
Yeah, because the party store on one end, a restaurant on the other end.
Well, there's a possibility that a restaurant could go in that space. He
Yeah.
doesn't have any commitments, so.
Yeah.
Some of the earlier
We don't want
plans.
to talk about a restaurant that may or may not come to fruition.
Okay, good deal. Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec did not meet, unfortunately. But we are meeting next week, and we do have some things coming up for Christmas, so I will report next month.
On the Parks and Rec note, we've created a storage space, and I will inform the committee, probably at the next meeting. We've created some storage, but there was an issue with, say, the coolers from the 150. I still got coolers in my garage, and, thank God I don't drink, so I know they're there, I can step over them. But, so we created at the well house on Haven Ridge, I didn't realize there was a lot of space in there. So we created a storage room for Parks and Rec. There's Easter egg hunt stuff in the back of the restrooms. There's, I think Jen has stuff at home. So we did create a nice storage space that we're gonna finalize. We'll probably finish it up tomorrow and put some shelving in. So all the Parks and Rec stuff is in one location, and we will make it available to 1, maybe 2 members of that committee to access when they need to get something. I'm sorry, are you done?
Yeah, that's it.
And Marcus, are you guys gonna wait till the next spring, or are you gonna install the bicycle, now that the fountain sidewalk is completed, the bicycle rack?
We can do it, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we have time.
So that pad is now, it's in place now, so we can put that rack in place. Okay. Call from the floor. Call from the table. I have one item that I need to speak on. It was mentioned, probably a couple months ago about the sidewalk inspections within the HOAs, Pembroke, Decorah, Amherst. And I asked the Met to verify that they're under the jurisdiction of the village, and they are. So all future sidewalk inspections, the DPW, when they go out and put their orange X's, they will also do the HOA community, with the exception of the common areas. Those are still the responsibility of the HOAs. And these sidewalks will fall under the ordinance, the village ordinance, like all of the sidewalks within the village.
So there's, I just have a general question with that. So then if there's something that's found to be, because we've had some arguments in our own community page where the argument is that the sidewalk in front of a homeowner's property, so it follows the ordinance with every other, just like any other sidewalk. So if it's dead center in front of my, I might check care of mine, but if it was dead center in front of my property and you guys flagged it and fixed it, then that assessment we've been talking about.
It's going to be
Perfect.
the sidewalk is the responsibility of the homeowner. Period. Call from the table.
I had one quick thing, and it's only coming up because it actually came up today and I didn't have a chance to look at my minutes. We had listed a bunch of streets that needed to be repaired. I remember Ann Street was one of them. There was a couple. Midfield, was it? I couldn't remember. Midfield or Mayfield was one of them.
North Brockton.
Yeah. Well, I bring it up, yeah, because we actually had my wife ripped the bottom of her brand new car at the Bradford today.
Bradford.
So she's like, what are we doing with that? So did we table that for spring? I just didn't look through my minutes.
It was put off because we had received the MDOT grant, and because the state hadn't adopted the budget yet,
Okay.
we have not received our grant.
Okay.
So most likely these will not take place until spring.
Got it. Yeah, I drove out, how'd you do that? It is bad.
I heard truck.
It's like crazy.
Well, I think too, with all the construction that's going on that street, I'm glad we didn't do anything with it
And
because.
that was another reason. We had said
Right,
initially
yeah, I knew that.
that because
Yeah.
of construction.
And if you've been through where, I think it was Amherst that paved the lanes, or maybe it was Hamilton, but they put up a really nice sign today to avoid any of their construction crew going there. Unfortunately, they had to create an alternate route which goes through the field, which is kind of an eyesore, but the sign is nice, so hopefully those lanes stay in good shape. for
Yeah,
their
I saw
route.
the paving that took place.
Yeah.
Avenue or whatever.
Nice. Blacktop. I know.
That lady was
How much
nasty.
are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Is
They're
that
only
it?
doing that, that's all that's part of never complete.
That's not a true statement.
Lane wise,
Oh, lane.
lane wise,
I think there was some repairs
Is there
that
a
were
difference
also
between a
being
lane and an
done.
alley?
same thing, lane alley.
Because there's not an alley that's never got a second coat.
That was definitely.
I'm not sure about is it Amherst Villages that's in the back?
Amherst Village is separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Amherst
I think-
all got their second coat.
One
And
of
lanes.
the lanes in the
That's why
back.
the catch basins and the alleys that are all, that's
Yeah.
not my business.
Yeah. But they redid some of the catch basins
Yeah,
this year and the
yeah.
lanes.
Well, they've had to, because
Yeah.
they were sticking out of the ground and they were being.
Of course, they were bad,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Because they never got
Bradford's
fixed, right?
rough. I'm glad to see they posted a sign though, so that we didn't do all that work for now.
Okay. Call from table. Motion in order.
Motion to adjourn. Second.